in the House.
And in fact, let's zero in now on the problems many long-term unemployed Americans are facing in the labor market and what can be done to help them. Hari Srinivasan has our conversation.
Ofer Sharone is a sociologist at the MIT Sloan School of Management who's trying to help tackle these issues. He co-founded the Institute for Career Transitions last fall. It's focused in part on assisting people between 40 and 65 years old with college degrees. So you've studied this a little bit. What are some of the problems that are unique to the long-term unemployed?
Good evening, Harry. Yes, so two things really jump out. One is people talk about experiencing a black hole. They are applying online, putting in tremendous effort to find a job, and they're getting no responses. This, I think, is partly a result of discrimination against people who are long-term unemployed by virtue of their duration of their unemployment, and I can say more about that. But there's another experience that's really important, which is just the toll on one's sense of self, the emotional experience of looking for work for month after month and not finding it. Many people tend to start to doubt themselves, to have experience of self-blame, despite the fact that we're still in unprecedented territories since the Great Depression for long-term unemployment. It's easy to lose sight of that and to feel that it's something you're doing. And this is a particularly American white-collar phenomenon. That's what my recent book focused on, looking at how when you're trying to avoid the black hole and instead networking, this becomes a highly personalized process with a lot of focus on building rapport, chemistry, and when you have negative labor market outcomes, you take the result personally as well.
So do these feelings of self-blame get worse the longer you're unemployed?
Absolutely. So each time a person tries to network, has an interview, and then it's unsuccessful, the sense of maybe there's something about me intensifies. I think of it as putting more salt on an open wound. It becomes harder and harder to continue with the search, and in some cases, people do stop searching. I think this is a piece of the puzzle of why we have this decline in labor force participation, which is also at historic low rates.
Let's look at the demand side for a second. Does the marketplace discriminate against the long-term unemployed? You and your peers have done a little bit of research on this, but say, for example, if you have two equal candidates, or let's say one candidate who has a job who might not have as much relevant experience, and one candidate who hasn't had a job in a long time but would really fit perfectly to what the employer is looking for, is there discrimination in the marketplace?
Yes, I think actually we have pretty good data showing that there is exactly that kind of discrimination. This is work of my colleague Rand Gayad. Did a resume audit study, sent virtually identical resumes except for varying the duration of unemployment and the match of skill. It turns out that people with a better match in terms of skill that the company is looking for get lower rates of callback to interviews, much lower, than people without relevant skills but with short duration of unemployment. So this is, in some ways, a very shocking finding, and I hope employers listening to this pay attention because they're passing up and missing a lot of great talent that is being overlooked by these kind of practices.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about what is working. You've also done some experiments there. What encourages this long-term unemployed population?
Right. So we have been very fortunate in the Boston area to find a group of dedicated career counselors and coaches that have stepped up and said, we will provide support for free, and let's see what kind of support makes a difference. And we're very early in analyzing the findings, but I can say that support does make a difference. The people in our group are finding jobs at a higher rate than a control group. And I think what's really interesting is what they're reporting helps. So at one level, the support is technical. The way a company that's experiencing difficulties selling a product may bring in a consultant who has an external perspective and expertise and help understand what are my strengths, where's their market demand for these strengths, how can I best present myself to an employer. All these things really do make a difference. But there's a second level of it as well, which is the emotional part that I think is equally important. Here, the support helps people develop a counter-narrative to the experience of being rejected over and over, reminding them of their strengths, what has led to their success in the past.
And that they're useful to other people.
Absolutely.
All right.
So the group context is particularly important here, where people see also that they're not alone in being long-term unemployed, that this is not something necessarily about themselves.
Yep.
Other very competent people are in the same boat.
All right. Ofer Sharone from the Institute for Career Transitions. Thanks so much.